Hello everybody, this is Starman, and welcome to the first chapter of Let's Play Martian Memorandum. That's a hard title to say. Now, Martian Memorandum is unique among the Tex Murphy games, at least from my perspective, because this is the only one I hadn't played before setting out to film this series of Let's Plays regarding the Tex Murphy mysteries. The first game I picked up back in my misspent teen years. I remember saving up my allowance to get it from the computer games section at Sears. Yes, they still had a computer games section back then. And then Under a Killing Moon and everything else from that I picked up on my own, same way. Christmas presents, birthday presents, saving up my money, etc. This one I never managed to get a hold of. By the time I got around to discovering the Tex Murphy games, it was already out of print, hard to find, impossible to get a hold of. So I went into this one completely blind. I did decide to play through it and beat the game before I started filming it. And it's a good thing I did, because this one, it's a slog. It's still got a great story. It's still revolutionary for what it managed to accomplish with the technology at the time. But for those of you who remember my Let's Play for Noctropolis, this one appears to have been, well, the designers on this one were Chris Jones, who, of course, is the actor who plays Tex and created the character of Tex Murphy. But the other co-designer was Brent Erickson, who you might remember as the head designer on Noctropolis. And this game, it definitely leans more toward the Noctropolis school of game design rather than what we saw in the later Tex Murphy games. So the good news is this game did get rid of the Echelon Flight Simulator, and there's no pesky having to fly around, weird landscape trying to land your car to go places. That's the good news. The bad news is that all the puzzles in this game are very hard and require you to have picked up a bunch of random items, and if you don't have the items, you're not going to be able to go forward in the game. And it's way too easy in this game to get stuck because you go past a point of no return without an item that you need to be able to beat the game. So I had to restart several times over the course of 2 days while I was playing through this. Hopefully we won't have any issues with that here, and if there are, well, you won't know because I'm just going to edit them out anyway. Ha ha ha. So, with no further ado, we will go ahead and get into the game, and I will discuss some of the problems as we go along. But overall, I did enjoy this one. It's definitely worth downloading as part of the package deal with the other Tex Murphy games. But you need to be prepared. This is going to be different from Mean Streets, and like I said, this is going to be very close to Noctropolis and how painful it is to deal with some of the sexism and the cliches, and, well, let's just press on. Nice opening music. We got the, what would become known as the Tex Murphy theme here. There's Brent Erickson. Brent Erickson and Chris Jones. Art directing. Chris gets first credit on the story, which is no surprise there. Additional art. Original music. Last night was tough. Nearly getting iced always leaves me drained and jumpy. As a private investigator, I've been in tough spots, but that was nearly the end of the line. I ended up sleeping in my chair all day. Now the sun is setting and I groggily stumble around the room trying to regain my bearings. As I look out the window, I can see the San Francisco skyline and what's left of the atmosphere. Not so long ago, a gigawatts of nuclear missiles were launched by some frantic third-world country. Lucky for the shelters, most people survive. The ecosystem may not. Tonight it seems the sky is extraordinarily red. Not the normal washed-out ruddy hue, but a thick, malicious, deep red. It leaves me edgy and tense. It's as if someone or something is targeting me. But then maybe I'm superstitious. I've never cared much for the color of blood. Now how's that for an intro? And I apologize for the sound mix on this video. Unfortunately, one of the first annoyances is that unlike Mean Streets, this game does not give you any options for controlling the volume. But unlike the first game, we do finally get to see Tex's office. And you can see that the interface has changed. We now have a point-and-click interface of sorts with look, open, move, get, use. Use accesses your inventory. Go to, which in theory is supposed to let you walk around pointing and clicking, but mostly you use it for things like opening doors and then going out through them. Talk, of course, works if you have somebody to talk to. Travel allows us to move between locations. At present, we only have Tech's office because, well, that's all we've been at, and we don't have a case. And then here's the one we're going to get the most use out of, help. Because, as if they knew you weren't going to be able to get through this game unaided, they put in a help system. It doesn't just give you hints as to what you're supposed to be doing. It will outright tell you what objects are in a room, what you can interact with, and what you need to do if you get stuck on a puzzle. So if we click on help now, it brings up ammo, lockpick kit, lens, camera, file drawer, gun, switch, window, mail, photos, tripod, and comlink. And we'll go ahead and pick on mail because we're standing right here. The mail contains something useful. Open it, and get it. And get it. Yeah, there was not good editing on this, apparently. I remember one bit in the dialogue later where it said, get here instead of get her. You pick up the mail, take the cash enclosed in one of the envelopes, you decide to file the letters. Okay, so if we check our inventory, we now have cash. Unfortunately, we can't look at the items in our inventory. So one less bit of interactivity there. You pick up the gun with care. And then we'll look around the rest of the office here. We've got an old but functional fax machine. In the future of 2039, fax machines are still used. And you pick up a fax page, but why bother? It'll just show up again tomorrow. A nasty fax warning text: if he doesn't pay his utility bills, his power will be shut off. And yes, we are starting to see the first signs of Tex being a hard luck hero in this game. Things ended well enough for him at the end of the first game, having just hooked up with a beautiful heiress. Actually, Sylvia wasn't much of an heiress, but you know, she had $1 million, so she was in better condition than we were. Actually, she does get retconned into being an heiress in Overseer, but that's in the future. Or the past. And we still have the annoying sound effect for when Tex walks. The drawer slides open and you bore yourself reading old cases. You haven't had anything real interesting since Mean Streets. And that's all we can do with the files there. And that opens our blinds up. In fact, if you check file drawer, it will tell you there's no... Open the second drawers down and read about some old cases. Doesn't do anything good, but... The funny part is that there's some sarcasm in the help files, too. So if you click on certain things, it'll tell you, yeah, do this, do this. Like photos, which aren't here yet. The photos will only show up after you have shot them using the camera. Well, that makes sense now, doesn't it? But at some point, we will take photos in here. Okay, so we pick up the camera, and... quick note about the graphics. I think they may have improved a little bit since Mean Streets, but they're so pixelated, it somehow feels worse given how primitive the digitization technology was at the time. So even though we've got a slightly more distinct outline for Tex, who is wearing white sneakers, gray pants, and brown trench coat here, it still doesn't seem like the graphics are so... In their attempt to make things more realistic, it's like everything has become muddier and darker, and there are a lot of stages in this where if you're clicking on the help, you'll be thankful for the help menu, because you just need to be able to differentiate between this piece of brown and that piece of gray and everything else. But let's go ahead and pick up everything else. So we've got, I was trying to get, not go to, but we got a comm link.
Hi, Tex. We've got a new case and you won't believe who it involves. I'll transmit the information.
And you have to be very careful pressing buttons, because this is how we get our information now rather than the fax machine. And if you touch anything, it'll scroll automatically. So let's see. Marshall Alexander, Terraform Corp, 582 Market Street. Mr. Alexander wants you to come by to discuss the case. See his secretary to let you in. He'll be there all day. All right, so we have a case. And we now have a Dick Tracy two-way wristwatch that lets us get in touch with our secretary. Why our secretary is not at our office, I have no idea. But yes, our new secretary, apparently Vanessa had to get let go at some point. Although the fact that Tex is actually able to afford a secretary at all is still somewhat astonishing. But we'll take a quick look around the office here. A ratty, moth-eaten red sweater, a once-white shirt with large ink blot, and a pair of oxblood gum-soled shoes rest in the corner. And if we try and get those, leave it here, you won't need it on this case. And then here we have your standard fedora, requirement for the hard-working PI. Although, oddly enough, we can't take the fedora. We have 7mm seeking bullets. We can take the ammo with us. The box contains a souvenir from the Asphalt Jungle State Park. The park is all that is left of Phoenix, Arizona after it took a direct hit on Doomsday. Various books from the Detective Correspondence School. Some people have to take a course to be a PI. You just had to shell out a few bucks. A few classic detective novels, including The Big Sleep and Babes and Bullets, featuring that pesky but lovable cat Garfield. I used to have that book as a kid. Calendar. Various doodling on the calendar includes a pig with an extremely large nose and a duck with X's over his eyes. The ashtray. Several stubbed-up cigarette butts lie in a pool of ashes. Phone. An antique table phone. It's similar to the phone used by Bogart in the Maltese Falcon. It reminds you of the way people used to communicate. And what the pixel I'm trying to click on is lens. 5,000mm no light lens. It's a perfect accessory for those late night assignments at the No-Tell Motel. And we'll want to get that. Now, we can't do anything with it yet, but we can go ahead and set up the camera on the tripod. Snap the camera and tripod lens into place. It will not do us any good without film, though, because when this game was designed, we didn't have digital cameras yet. So we're going to have to get some film to use in the camera. And we also need to use our comlink.
What's up?
And we'll ask her about Marshall Alexander.
I'll transmit the information.
Marshall Alexander. Fortune magazine currently lists him as the richest man in the world. Alexander founded Terraform in 2019. The company has many successful diversified companies tied to Martian development. Alexander keeps his corporation veiled in secrecy. Background information prior to 2019 was lost in the D-Day attack. And Terraform Corp itself.
I'll transmit the information.
Yeah, we got a lot more voice acting in this one, such as it is. Terraform is Marshall Alexander's company. They are specializing in terraforming the Martian planet to build a suitable atmosphere for habitation. And yes, we can ask about ourselves.
I'll transmit the information.
You're a San Francisco PI who gained worldwide fame on the Mean Streets case. You also owe me 2 months back wages. Love, Stacy.
See you later.
Okay, well, we now have a location to travel to, so we can go to Terraform. You have to be a private eye nor have a PhD to find Terraform Corporation in San Francisco. You don't even see too well. Just look up. Terraform is overwhelming. It's the biggest building in the entire city by the bay or anywhere else. One step inside and you're instantly dwarfed by the 30-foot ceiling that arches overhead. The microwave motion detectors, pressure-sensitive pads, and robotic surveillance would make a Nazi nervous. All of this security must have emerged from the development of the Terraform Corp. Terraforming is a 50-year plan to make Mars habitable. It must have been very dangerous work at the onset. raising a planet's temperature 100 degrees, designing and erecting an efficient solar shield, transmuting the lethal gases of the red planet must have warranted risk, silence, and heavy security. Security, yes, but this place makes you feel like 7th grade gym class on the first day in the showers. Going in naked and ill-equipped. I guess I passed their check. A thick-necked guard takes me into a turbo elevator, and I head for Alexander's office. So, take a look around here. A plaque reads Terraform Corp facility is located on Mars, near the Thracis Bulge. Phase 3 is now complete in meeting the goal of providing a breathable atmosphere. And a piece of art from sculptor Sabatini. It protrudes from the floor at unsightly angles. Uglier works of art have been sold for more, but not in recent history. A tufted Corinthian leather sofa made from a recycled Chrysler Cordoba. Rich Corinthian leather. An extremely extinct, genetically undamaged fern plant. Oh, nearly extinct. Yeah, the font's a little weird on this one. And then we have Rhonda Foxworth, Mr. Alexander's executive assistant, is an incredibly well-built, gorgeous example of true art. We're going to ignore her for the moment, so that we can use the bathroom. No, really, we are totally going to use the bathroom. Because such is the madness of this game that we have to go in here and move the towels, so that we may find an earring. But before I show you what this earring is for, let's do what we came here to do.
May I help you?
Well, we could try asking her a few questions.
I'm just too busy right now.
Okay, so she will not answer any of our questions because she is too busy.
May I help you? Just a moment. We can see you now.
Mr. Alexander's office. That's not ominous at all.
Good evening, Mr. Murphy.
Do you know what evil lurks in the hearts of man? The shadow knows.
My daughter is missing. She may have been abducted. Something else was stolen from me, but no one must know that it's gone.
Now, of course, we know she's been abducted because of the cutscene showing her being abducted, but, yeah, seems a little weird that we still have to pursue the ambiguity angle of whether or not she just wandered off. I'll transmit some leads for you to begin your search. I've already told you all you need to know. Now do your job. Okay, then. Alright. So what we're going to do with that earring, presuming that it belongs to the secretary. Now we can't just use it and give it to her. We have to talk to her and then use the
May I help you?
talking interface. In this case, you're supposed to note from... well, actually, it does look like she is missing an earring, but it takes you a split second to see that. So we use the offer to give her the earring.
Oh, thanks! I thought it was lost. How about dinner?
Says, well, I usually get a 20% finder's fee for lost or stolen articles, but only charge you 10%. Yes, in case... This is, again, an example of how utterly random this game is, but we do, in fact, need to take her out to dinner. I'll meet you tonight at Clemens. It's the 5-star restaurant at the Plaza Hotel. Yes, make her pay for you going to the most expensive place. Because she's asking you out. Okay, it's a date. So now we have... The trip out of Terraform is a lot more pleasant than coming in. It's nice to have a client that looks like he can pay. So, Alexis Alexander, the daughter of the wealthiest man in the universe, is missing. What a ransom this dish would offer. But in the information he transmitted to me, there was nothing to prove this was a kidnapping. Then he says something else was stolen from me. acts like this is more important than his daughter. I try to get more information on what it was, and he clams up on himself. I don't think he's given me the whole story, and one thing's for sure, he's desperate. At least he gave me a few places to start. But we'll go ahead and head back to our office first. And we got a few links here. Alexis's home, Texas, Plaza Hotel, Jacques Sparrow, Malden, and Rockwell Rock. Actually, we'll go to Alexis's home first, since it's the top of our list. They say money can't buy you happiness, but it sure can scoop up on everything else. I dropped in one of Alexander's residences, the one Alexis was staying at before she disappeared. The place makes the Taj Mahal look like the projects. I enter the 10-foot spired iron gate with gilded points. The house isn't even in sight yet as I roll past a forest of flowering shrubs and short trees. Security cameras are everywhere. If Alexis was kidnapped, somebody was definitely asleep at the wheel. The maid at the door has been told I would be coming, and she lets me in. I'm led through a hallway to a chamber of marble and glass, to Alexis's room. It all resembles a mausoleum. I feel myself whispering so as not to wake the dead. Well, we grabbed the paper. Not that we got a chance to see what it was, but we still pick up the clue regardless of it. Thankfully, the help screen helps us with this as well. The paper is on the floor to the left of the bed. Look at it. You flip up the corner of the bedspread to reveal a box. And now we open the box, and now we have to look in the box to see what's in there. A small notation is made on a napkin from Wiener World. It says Chantal Vargas, apartment 970. Is this a hint, or could it be this miscellaneous scrawling made at the restaurant that serves the biggest weenies in San Francisco? Miscellaneous scrawling. Let's opt for miscellaneous scrawling. Forget the box, just look inside. We can also mess with the controls here. You move a switch on the control panel to change the mood of the room. At Nightscape. Various articles of lingerie from Victoria's Secret, business suits, 24-inch spiked collar leash, handcuffs, and active sportswear. Apparently, Alexis had a rather active knife life. An ancient piece of Martian sculpture made of Martian alloys. It seems to resemble a horse with a pinhead. Just a bit. Shame on you. Do us a favor and just come out of the closet. Ha 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 ha. Ha 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 ha. Ha ha. Yeah, you didn't get nearly as many of these jokes in the stuff Chris Jones wrote. Just saying. Okay, so let's make sure. Control panel. The panel only controls the picture above the bed. Move it to change the picture. The switch, move it and see what happens. That's helpful. Inside box. Inside the box, you find several interesting items. Make sure you look at what's there. The box is not locked, just open it. The bed, nothing special about the bed. Maybe what's under it could help. And the paper, we already saw it's on the floor. From here, we can use our comm link.
What's up?
And this time, instead of having to type out what we want, we can just go down our list.
I'll transmit the information.
Now we got this one already. Raquel Bach.
I'll transmit the information.
Rockwell Bach is an attorney. You'll find him at this address here.
I'll transmit the address.
Jacques Sparrow is a professional photographer. His address is 1820 Gateway Drive in San Mateo.
I'll transmit the information.
TMS is the acronym for the Trans-Martian Shuttle. The office is in the lower ferry building down on pier. If you're looking for a way to Mars, you'll have to wait a while. The next one leaves in 4 weeks. Malden.
I'll transmit the address.
Malden's precinct is on Market Street. Malden being a cop, obviously. Okay, nothing on Chantal Vargas.
I'll transmit the information.
Just in case you forgot, Alexis Alexander is the daughter of Marshall Alexander. He hired you to find her. You may want to check with your doctor about Alzheimer's disease. Burn.
See you later.
Alright, well, with that done, we'll go ahead and head to the Plaza Hotel. And I'm going to save my game here. Because this is the first point in the game where you can totally screw things up beyond repair. And we got two locations here. We've got the restaurant proper, entrance to the internationally famous 4-star restaurant Clements, and then here we have entrance to the guest shop Caddy's. Now we can take a look at all the items in here. We've got what? I have absolutely no idea what this is. Ask our audience, Doug Vandergrit. Cosmetics. Various skincare products from World of Beauty, $20. Various colors of lipstick. None of them seem to be right for you. Diamond necklace, Cartier, $25,000. Sea Dragon sculpture by Lillardo, $1,000. Personal hygiene products. And various other skin products. Small crystal sculpture with a powerful fragrance. But what we're interested in is a perfect rose. It's hard to find one that isn't because nowadays they're all genetically engineered. So we can get the rose, and we have to use the cash on the cashier. Thank you, and I hope she likes it. Well, we're going on a date. We need to show up with a rose now, don't we? And we have to go to the restaurant. One of the most opulent and expensive restaurants on the West Coast, Clements is a stunning example of elegance. Four-leaded glass chandeliers, that S is kind of hard to see there. 4 leaded glass chandeliers cast a warm light on the cherrywood Queen Anne-styled dining tables. The sound of sterling silver tableware tinkles from the kitchen. Original artwork, leaded crystal, and rare imported knives kinds call out to me. I hope they'll take a party check. I see Rhonda already seated in the corner table. She sits reading the menu in an evening dress cut low enough to make it interesting.
Hello, Tex. Like my outfit?
Sure does, Dollface. I've seen better, but it does insinuate the positive. Your taste in clothes and restaurants is excellent, even if it's a little rich for my blood. I guess so. Did you see what that guy was eating? It looked like cat food. Now, would you mind answering some questions? Well, clearly we do not want to make it seem like we're just taking her on this date to learn about her boss. And buttering her up with response 2 is also the wrong path. And you have to play through the sequence a few times to figure this out. I think I remember the right sequence, which is why I saved, but it turns out that Rhonda has a thing for He-Men, and playing the rough jerk is really going to do things for her. So let's go with response number 1.
Thanks. What do you think of the restaurant?
Not really my style. I'm a dinner and beer kind of guy. It's a place that reflects your beauty and elegance. I think we ought to forget dinner. Let's go back to your apartment and I'll count the moles on your back. That's a little too direct.
Well, it's nice to be appreciated.
Appreciation isn't the only thing I'm good at.
Could be. I guess we'll see about that.
Well, let me go ahead and offer her the rose now. Okay, please give me a try, because darn it, I think I'm falling head over heels in love with you. That's a little quick. I think you will. You're a woman with style and class, and then... Why shouldn't you? I've been around, sister. I know a woman likes their man on the rough side. Let's go with 3.
There are times I feel like such a bad girl. Does that make me cheap, Tex?
Not cheap, just an excellent value.
Is it getting warmer in here? Because I'm getting so hot.
Dear God. Okay. If you need to stop and pause the video, take a shower right now, I understand, because, God, I feel dirty doing this part. Let's see, do we have to eat? I can think of several things I'd rather be doing right now, or it's been hot in here since I saw you sitting at the table.
Oh, Tex. After dinner, come up to my room for dessert.
I'm hoping she just can't keep a straight face saying this cheesy dialogue with that purring voice. I love to finish off a good meal with something sweet, and then, well, maybe now would be a good time to answer a few questions. Then nothing would stand in the way of our nocturnal activities. Yeah, I love to finish off a good meal with something sweet.
Kiss me, Tex.
Is she pressing her lips against glass there? Later that evening, and yeah, here we see the Erickson influence, because he put a lot of his cheesiness into Noctropolis too. But now we can answer our questions. I mean, we can ask our questions, and she can answer our questions. The things we do for a case. Something has happened to him over the past few months. He's always been quite paranoid about everything, but recently it's gotten much worse. It all started when a package arrived one morning from Mr. Alexander. I handed it to him, and a short while later he became extremely agitated. I asked him if anything was wrong, but he told me to leave him alone. Soon after, he and his daughter had several major altercations, and she would leave upset and crying from his office. The day after Alexis disappeared, I heard him scream, "It's gone!" When I asked him about it, he said I misunderstood what he said, but I know what I heard. It really is not a dream place to work. Security is very tight, and the people who work here are very, very cold. The pay is excellent, however. But lately things have not been going well. There's trouble at the Mars facility, and the last payroll was missed. Marshal Alexander doesn't seem to be as bold and confident as he once was. Rockwell's our corporate attorney. He's got a lot of brains outside his head. Jacques Sparrow. Jacques has been good to Alexis. He found her work for her as a model, but she made decent money, but never enough to support herself. The Trans-Martian shuttle is how many Terraform personnel get to Mars. Malden is the police officer who investigated Alexis' disappearance. He asked me a number of stupid questions. I felt he was a dull, thick-headed, imbecilic slug. Chantal Vargas. She was a friend of Alexis's. I guess they had a falling out a while back. Alexis herself. Alexis is a beautiful girl, but she's easily confused. I guess it's because she's still young and her parents never really cared that much about what she did. I hope she's all right and hasn't done anything crazy. The last time she left, it sounded as if she hated her father, and I know she hated her stepmother, Nora Desmond Alexander. Nora is Mr. Alexander's wife and Alexis' stepmother. She's an old movie actress who still has dreams of grandeur. If you want to talk to her, be careful. She's a crazy, vain old woman. I know Alexis always hated her. You don't sound too fond of her either. So, yeah. That's given us a lead. So, yeah, Alexis is home. Let's go after Jacques Sparrow. The address of Jacques Sparrow is a 3-story white stucco and glass building designed after the war to be the kind of avant-garde of modern architecture. They failed. It looks too square and the windows need washing. Inside is just as dank and sticky as outside. I find a directory on the wall. Jacques Sparrow's office is on the 3rd floor. I ride up the elevator, which smells similar to a cat marking its territory. At the end of the hallway I see lettering, Jacques Sparrow on pebbled glass. I knock, no answer. I try the knob, but it's locked. If I had my lockpick kit, I could pop this door in 5 seconds. Unfortunately, it's still at my apartment. Yeah, I knew there was something I was forgetting. But thankfully, this is one of the times when we can go back and correct our mistake. So, let's see. Lockpicking kit. Lockpicking kit will be useful later. Pick it up. Okay. Was that the other box? Yeah. I missed it because it was the one next to the ammo. I thought that was the one I got. Okay, come on. Basic Detective Lockpicking Kit. Okay, so with that done, Jacques Sparrow. I reach inside my pocket and pop out a tool that makes opening doors a snap. I close the door behind me and look around. The place looks very familiar. An old roll-top desk, swivel chair, a frayed pillow, and a couple of file cabinets. The door might as well have my name on it. The file cabinet was locked, but it was easy to pop open. Inside some cheap rye, a phone directory, and manila envelope. There are a number of 8x10 glossies of very young-looking girls in leather. I'm lost in thought when I hear the doorknob begin to turn. I toss the folder back in the file and spin around. The door opens, and in walks a guy who looks like Errol Flynn in the gay adventures of Captain Blood. His face is tanned, and he's slim. When he sees me, his mouth opens, and out drops the worst French accent I've ever heard.
Mon Dieu, what the hell are you doing here?
That is indeed the worst French accent I've ever heard. But you want to get really funny, we can offer him cash at this point. All I have is a roll of film to give you. So the guy walks into our office, and we can, or walks into his office with us in there, and we can buy film from him. Anyway, let's see. This is certainly the right business for a sleazy lowlife like you.
And what business are you in?
I'm a private investigator.
You are nothing but a fake cop.
So, I'm not a real cop, and you're not a real crook. You're just a sleazy little greaseball who likes to take dirty pictures.
I do art. You know, classical stuff.
Yeah, I took the liberty of looking through your files. I don't think Martian Babes in Bondage will ever rank with Mozart or Bach.
Okay, Spunky, get out or I call the cops.
Go ahead, but some of those girls look underage, and if the cops show up, I'll have to show them what you've got in your private files.
Relax, I'll answer questions.
Alright, Marshal Alexander. What does anybody know about Alexander? He's the richest man in the world. That is about all it. He's not the one that anyone ever gets information on. Terraform Corp. That's Marshal Alexander's company. What I wouldn't do to own a piece of the action. Like kidnap a young girl? Rockwell Buck. I know nothing about that. Sparrow. I'm a small businessman trying to make a living. I find work where hire models, shoot photos, it's no big deal. Nora Desmond Alexander. I know nothing about her. TMS. The only commercial way to get to Mars. Mac Malden. Know nothing about that. Chantal Vargas. Chantal used to be one of the top models on the West Coast. Unfortunately, she's become a heavy user of Rush. That drug has really ruined her career. I hardly use her anymore. Alexis Alexander. I met Alexis when she roomed with Chantal. She's got a pretty face and gorgeous body. There were a couple of jobs I found that fit her perfectly. I'll bet. And Tex Murphy. I don't care what anybody says. I still don't like you. Alright, well, now we can travel back to our office. Because now that we have some film, we can use that on our camera. You snap the film into place just like you knew what you were doing. And we'll go talk to Mac Malden next. I walk into the old dilapidated police station and cross the reception room to a dully lighted inner corridor and pass down the corridor to a frosted glass door at its far end. I open the frosted glass door and walk into an office where a big olive-skinned man with a tired oval face under a mat, that should be M-A-T, of thin hair dotted with dandruff sits behind an immense desk on which bales of paper are heaped. Mac's a true San Francisco flatfoot. His biggest claim to fame is that an old relative of his used to be on a police show about San Francisco. Somebody said Mac looks a lot like him. That would be Carl Malden, of course.
What brings you down here, Murphy? Looking for a client?
Now, Mac responds best to good-natured ribbing and abuse, so we're going to go with response 2. Nope, somebody's got to work while others drink coffee and eat donuts all day. How else would things get done?
Up yours, Seamus.
And then response 2. I know it's foolish for me to get angry at inanimate objects, but you make me mad anyway. You're so lazy you become a landmark. You've been sitting on that butt of yours just getting soft like the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man.
I know I'm going soft in the head from talking to you, Murphy. What do you want? What?
I need validation on my meal ticket. I thought you and I could put our heads together on a new case. Yeah, let's go with the meal ticket line.
Damn it, we're too busy.
I've noticed some tension in here. What's going on? Or, come on, we've always helped each other in the past. What's going on?
If I don't get evidence on the Andretti case, I'll be out of a job.
I'll keep my ear out for any information.
If you want my help, get me something on Andretti.
Okay, well, that gives us a goal to go with. Let's go to Chantal Vargas next. Chantal Vargas' address is the Hitchcock Building, a huge urban tower near my office downtown. These towers are all self-sufficient living spaces that allow the residents of the building to avoid the decay and violence of the inner cities. I ring the bell and a tired but striking woman with deep hungry eyes and long unbrushed brunette hair answers the door. She's young, but there are signs of hard and fast living. Something rings familiar in those features, and then it smacks me. She's a mysterious woman I've seen dancing through the camera lens from my office window. I feel the blood rush to my face. Jeez, I hope she doesn't recognize me. So yeah, apparently our hero has been playing Peeping Tom on some girl who dances in the window of the apartment across the street from him. Joy.
Yeah?
Although that does give us an option of approaching her. My name is Murphy. I'm a private investigator. I was wondering if I could ask you a few questions.
Tex Murphy, don't you have an office across from my apartment window?
Surely you don't think I would use that camera in my office. Or I don't know what you're talking about.
You're the pervert with that telescope.
Do I look like the kind of person who do that? Wearing my dirty trench coat? Now we've discussed my hobby, how about giving some background on yours? Or that camera doesn't even have a lens in it.
I'm a professional model and dancer.
Tell me where you perform. I'd love to come see you. A professional dancer. Maybe you and I could go out for some time, and cha-cha.
What a sick thought.
Okay, so we're not going to get anything out of her yet. But since we now have a camera with film, hello. Now, we heard that she has a drug problem. That photo may come in handy someday. So we just got a picture of her paying her dealer, it looks like. And for once, that isn't a euphemism. So now we can go back and talk to her some more.
Yeah? Tex Murphy, don't you have an office across from my apartment window?
Funny you mention that. Oh, I didn't pick up my pictures. So back to my office. So yes, I have to actually pick the photos up off the ground. And now I can travel to her to,
Yeah? Tex Murphy, don't you have an office across from my apartment window?
And photos. Alright, ask your questions. And this is another one of the little weird oddities in the interface, is that you have to do the offer even though you have the conversation option, but now we can actually ask about stuff. Alexis's father is a very rich and powerful man, but that didn't impress her. Alexis didn't want his help, but she couldn't shake him completely. In the last little while, Alexis started getting very resentful toward her father. Terraform Corp. That's the company Alexis's dad owns. Rockwell Bach. No idea. Jacques Sparrow. You'll like him, Murphy. He's a raunchy little man with a camera who likes to see women in compromising positions. He's a lot like you. Norma Desmond Alexander. Alexis really hated that woman. They go at each other all the time. CTMS. Everybody knows about the shuttle. It's how you get to Mars. Mac Malden. Don't know him. Chantal Vargas. Look, I'm a damn good model, but lately I've been partying too much. I've gotten kind of strung out and starting to show. Alexis Alexander. Oh, okay. Got another name there. Angelo Andretti. Alexis is a good kid, but she's prettier than me, but I'm easier for the right guy, not you. I've got no idea where she's gone, but it was probably with that tall, dumb, greasy actor Rick Logan. If you see her, tell her I'm sorry. Rick Logan? Oh. I don't know anything about the guy, other than that he worked in the movie business. She met him several weeks before she moved out of my apartment. By then, we weren't really talking civilly to each other. I guess it was my fault. I think you're a disgusting peeping Tom. No, she's not wrong. But hey, we got two more names to look up. Rick Logan and Norma Desmond. Let's go ahead and end this and question the last suspect we got from... Well, not suspect, but source that we got from Mr. Alexander. The work address for Rockwell Bach looks more like a home. It's a large, solid house with lavender brick walls and white stone trim. I walk in and I'm greeted by a young, pretty face with a nice smile. She asks if I have an appointment. I tell her why I'm there, and she leads me into Bach's office. It's obvious why Marshall Alexander hired this guy to be part of his corporate brain trust. Because he is, in fact, a mutant with a extra-large brain coming out the back of his head. All right, Marshall Alexander. A brilliant man, perhaps even more with more brain power than myself. He has built a vast empire on his own with virtually flawless business decisions. His health, however, has deteriorated over the last several months. He's become increasingly paranoid and has added more security people to his staff. The disappearance of his daughter has contributed significantly to his mental and physical degeneration. Alexis has always been indifferent toward her father's company in the past, but Marshall has confided to me that the majority interest of Terraform would go to his daughter when he dies. If anything happened to Alexis, control of the business would go to Marshall's wife, Nora Desmond Alexander. For that reason alone, it's of the utmost importance that Alexis is found. I think that with the right counsel, Terraform would be much better off with Alexis. Your counsel, perhaps? As a corporate attorney, I enjoy a special relationship with Mr. Alexander. I consider both Alexis and Marshall to be good friends. He rarely makes any business decisions without me. No one ever gets to know Marshall Alexander very well. A man who climbed to the top of the business world makes many enemies. Unfortunately, Marshall Alexander is one of those men. And Jacques Sparrow. Jacques Sparrow is a professional photographer who used Alexis as a model in his recent months. I must say I didn't approve of some of his work. Alexis is beautiful, but she didn't develop any marketable skills. She did the best she could with what she had. So we're being paid to find Paris Hilton, basically. Anyway, Norma Desmond Alexander. Nora was a successful movie actress at one time. When she married Marshall 15 years ago, she gave up her career. I've had the feeling that she always resented giving up her career. Let's see, TMS. I don't know anything about that. Mac Malden. Ooh, nasty face on that one. Police Lieutenant Matt Malden was the police officer who investigated Alexis' disappearance. He came up with nothing on the kidnapping theory and no leads to where Alexis is. Alexis mentioned Chantal on occasion. I believe they're friends. Rick Logan. I don't know anything about that. Alexis Alexander. Alexis is a headstrong and beautiful girl. Her past hasn't been totally innocent. When she was younger, I spent a lot of time straightening out her life. I'm sure Mr. Alexander told you his daughter was kidnapped. I'm not so sure. Just before her disappearance, she started to fall back on old habits. She became very resentful toward her father and his company. If she ran away, I really don't know where she would go. Angelo Andretti. He's the congressman that was murdered, but that's about all I know about him, I'm afraid. And Tex Murphy. I hope you're a good PI. You ought to be to solve this case. And Rick Logan. Don't know anything about that. Well, that has given us a few opportunities to pursue. So let's head back to our office so we can use our comlink.
What's up? I'll transmit the information.
Angelo. Here's a summary of the Examiner's article on Andretti's death. Congressman Angelo S. Andretti was murdered in his Santa Mato home last night. Police believe Andretti was killed because of his relentless pursuit of underground crime lords. Nothing on Rick Logan in our resources. No information on her.
I'll transmit the information.
Nora Desmond Alexander is Marshall's second wife. She has a house in Beverly Hills on Benedict Canyon Drive.
See you later.
And this strikes me as a good place to stop this chapter. And next time we will continue on our investigation and speak with Norma Desmond Alexander. I'll see you next time.